Okay, it's 3 minutes past 11 or 4 minutes past 11, so we'll make a start. People will join as they come in. We'll just carry on, and this webinar is being recorded. So my name is Mark Lewis. I'm the Service Manager for the Employment Tribunals in HMCTS. So hello and welcome to this event where we will be demonstrating how to register for the MyHMCTS portal for solicitors and other legal professionals, and also how to complete the ET3 response form using that MyHMCTS portal. So on the call today, we have members of the Employment Tribunal Reform Project team, members of the team that developed the MyHMCTS portal, and members of the team that manage access to the MyHMCTS portal. Any questions that you have, please pop them in the chat and we'll do our best to answer them as we go along. Any that we can't answer this morning, we will update the stakeholder frequently asked questions document with the questions, and we'll publish that online following this event. Finally, we will be putting a link to a survey about this event in the chat at the end, so please do complete that survey in the hope that it'll help us improve the way we deliver these types of events in the future. So I'll now hand over to Michael Nooner, who's our project manager, and he will be running through the demonstrations. Thank you. Michael, over to you.
Thank you, Mark. Good morning, everyone. I hope everyone can see the PowerPoint on the screen.
Yeah, works for me, Mike.
Great, thank you. So today we're just going to try and focus on two parts, as Mark has explained. It's to show you where to register for MyHMCTS and the process, and then ET specific, how to submit an ET3 via the MyHMCTS portal. So MyHMCTS is available. It's reform-wide, since it's not just for ET specific. There are other services currently live with the system. So if you Google MyHMCTS, you would see a page there that will take you directly there. So I'm just going to take you to that page. Hopefully you'll be able to see that. So on that page, it gives you guidance of how to complete it. The MyHMCTS. There are two parts to MyHMCTS. First, you need to register your organisation with an account administrator. So you need an individual within your organisation to submit and register onto MyHMCTS. So to create an account is pretty straightforward. So on that link, you'd create an organisation MyHMCTS account, and they will ask you questions in there about the details of your organisation, your name, email address, and your SRA ID or equivalent professional registration. As Employment Tribunal do not have any fees, this is an optional, the PBA number. So you are still able to register to MyHMCTS even if you don't have a PBA number. And that's payment by account, which is a government-led fees processing which organisations can sign up to as well. So once you've so I'll just go through that for now. So if I wanted to create an organisation, I'll just click on Start, put the name. Just going to do this as an example. Yeah, so you just put in the details. Your main office, that's optional, as said before. And do you have a DX? If you do, you can provide that if you wish. And your SRA number. So I'm just going to. And then your name. And then your email address. So this should be your business email address wherever possible. And then this gets submitted. You confirm and submit details, and this will go to the MyHMCTS team, who will check your details and cross-reference the SRA number and make sure everything's correct, and they would approve your request. So I'm just going to exit from this. So this is already live in several other areas: civil, divorce, public law, financial remedy, immigration, asylum appeals, and probate. And for the employment tribunal, MyHMCTS is only available for 4 sites, early adopter sites, which is Scotland, Bristol, Nottingham, and Leeds. So all the guidance there explaining what a administrator can do. So once you've created a MyHMCTS administrator account, that individual can invite other people to become administrators, so that you can have more than one in case of annual leave or absence. And then within that, those administrators can then invite users onto MyHMCTS within your organization, and which is the next step I'll be showing you. So how do you know when a case is on MyHMCTS for ET? So when an ET1 form is accepted by the tribunal and it's served onto the respondent, within the served documents, you will see this letter or leaflet. It will contain a key part. So it's the 16-digit reference number that you would need in order to access the case via MyHMCTS. You will have this, and you also need the respondent's name, and the claimant's name, first and last name. All those details will be required, and I'll show you this, how it works in a moment. So once you've registered as an account administrator, the next step is that account administrator can log in once approved, and then they can invite users onto the system within your organization. So as an account administrator, my details have been approved. So now I would then log in. And then I'll have an overview of who's on this. So this is the organization's details. And then I can check the users on the account as well. And if I wanted to add more users, then I can click invite user, and then I can send an invite to that individual. So as I said earlier, if you wish to have, for example, this person, me, wants to give permissions as an account administrator, I can now give that person certain permissions. Under each one, there's an explanation at which, and also on the website, it gives you details of the behind which one, the details of this. So once I've invited that individual, I will, if I was the one that's been invited, will receive an email, and then I'll click on the link to activate the account and create a password. So an email will look like this. And then I would create my password. And then I will be able to access the MyHMCTS portal within the organization. So as I said earlier, that 16-digit number will give you access, and there's a step. So now you have been invited as a user within the organization. You've received the served documentation with that page with the 16-digit number and details, you can then log in and then go through the notice of change process, which now I will demonstrate. So I'll log in. So when you first log in, you will not have this case list that you would see here. So it will be a complete blank on that side. Jurisdiction as well. Once you've registered, you will have access to the other jurisdictions, but for this, we're focusing on employment. You'll go to notice of change, and then you would put in the 16-digit number that's been provided or with the served documents. You must ensure there are no gaps before or after the digit, and if the digit numbers are incorrect, it won't allow you to proceed to the next page. It'll go somewhere went wrong. So you need to ensure that you put in the correct 16-digit number. And then, as per the served documents, you need to complete the respondent name, claimant's first name, and the claimant's last name as is on the documents. So in the background, the system will make sure that the 16-digit number matches these details. And if they all match, then it will allow you to proceed. And then it will give you a summary. And if you're happy that everything's correct, you would tick those boxes, confirming what's been said in there, and it's been submitted. So if the client has had legal representation, an email will be sent to their legal representative, and then you will now have access to the case. So that's the first part that we have to do in terms of gaining access to that particular case. And the next step is the service that we have released and is available is now you can now submit the ET3 response form. And this video will now show you how to do that. First thing I would like to clarify is that the only 4 tabs you would see is the first 4 tabs. These are not available quite yet, so I just wanted to make that clear. I was unable to remove these from this presentation, unfortunately. So it'd be the first 4. So now in order to submit the case, the ET3, let me just play that back again. You will have to complete the respondent details, the employment details, the response details. Once they're all fully complete, then you are able to submit the ET3 form. We've broken it down in these categories in order to enable you to complete this over time, so you can return to it and complete the next one if you're not able to complete all of it in one go. So the first one is the respondent's details, and the next few screens will be a bit of guidance and also the questions in relating to that specific area. Sorry, I just accidentally paused it there. So when you click on continue, then you'd select the respondent. So all these questions you will be familiar with as part of the ET3 form. So these questions, they're going to go very quickly on this screen, but basically it's similar to the current ET3 form. And there will be optional questions which you don't require to fill in. You can use the once you punch into your address, if you cannot find the address, you're able to complete it manually. ask for the contact phone number. A reference number, if you use an internal reference number within your organisation, you can put that in there. Preference of how to be contacted. Now, this is in order to Tribunal to understand if you're able to attend outside being in person. So when the Tribunal looks at a case, they know the information up front. Then the Tribunal decides how it will be heard. And this is about any physical or mental issues. And then it will just provide you a summary. The word in here, submit ET3 as draft, is actually now save ET3 as draft. So once you're happy with this area, you can save that as a draft within your MyHMCTS account. Then you will go into the employment details. Again, questions in relation to the claim and the respondent. I'm just doing a happy path for the demonstration, but if you click to no, it will ask you to provide further details. So again, similar questions that you're already aware of. Right, your summary page, so it enables you to change anything, and you need to save it as a draft. Then you would complete the response details. And in here, you'll be able to upload your document. The grounds of defence, for example. Question about employer's contract claim. And then you can save this as draft. So once you've completed all 3 sections, you can close and return to case details. And the last step you'll be required to do is submit the ET3 to the Tribunal. So you tick the box that you're happy to submit this ET3. And then once that's clicked on, that's now been submitted to the Tribunal. And then you'll be back on the case. So once you've submitted that to the Tribunal, there will be an email confirmation sent to your registered email to confirm that you have submitted an ET3. So that's been submitted and you no longer need to do anything and wait for the Tribunal to respond once they've processed the ET3. So after you've submitted it, you can access the output of all those questions. So if you go to the case documents, you can then click on the ET3 response and it produces an ET3 form with the questions you have answered in the relevant boxes. You're able to download it if you wish to keep an electronic version on a separate system, or you can also print it as well, but it will also be stored on MyHMCTS, so it will be there, which you can then access. I think that's just the case. That's the one I just demonstrated. And then we've got these details, which we'll put on the chat now. So that's essentially the end of the presentation for how to register and how to do the notice of change, and also how to submit an ET3. We will provide this in the chat, these details, in a moment, and hopefully my colleagues have been answering your questions. We might take a moment to check if there's any unanswered ones, so we can try and answer them now. So I'd just like to add, I'll be copy and pasting the details. So we now have, so just pasted it into the message box. There is a, I'll just share my screen. So what I've just gone through, the last link on the chat, which is the ET guidance, is now available on that link. So it gives you the details and the steps of how to submit an ET3. So that's all available on the system. So just to zoom in on this, hopefully I'll be able to show this. So once you have registered and you've submitted, the cases will appear on your list here. So obviously this is just one case, but as you submit several cases, you would have them there, so you'll be able to see them at a glance, the case list at one glance. So that's be available to have that in one place, so you can have all cases that you are representing, and you can click on the case number and it takes you that particular case for the details. So currently the system's only available to submit an ET3. In the future, we're developing it to enable you to submit applications via myHMCTS, and there will be correspondence with the tribunal using myHMCTS as well. So they're the next steps that we are developing, but this is the first stage and only released to those 4 early adopter sites. I'm just checking if there's any questions that's left unanswered. So what we will do, we'll take away some of these questions that are here, and we will then respond to them where we haven't done so during the presentation and share that with you all. Let's give a moment if there's any other questions.
Yeah, there's a question on there from Mark Stevens. Does the process replace the existing ways to respond to an ET claim? No, it's in addition to. At the moment, you can still submit an ET3 in exactly the same way as you currently do. But we want to get people using this system so that we can learn from feedback that you give once you provide it.
Just checking the questions if there's any others. There's quite a lot there.
We have some members of the UAM team on the call, so there's a question about would it be possible to check before registering if your organisation's already registered to MyHMCTS? Is there anyone on the call able to answer that one?
Yes, if you email us, we'll be able to check that for you.
And with the guidance that's been linked, there is an email address for the support team, so it will be emailing that address. Thank you for that.
Yeah, so there's a couple of questions here. So if we just go through some of them, hopefully we can answer some of them here. We would check if there's a way to download the notice of change. I think there is an email confirmation that a notice of change has been submitted, but we will double check that for you. I think that was Emily Andrews that's raised that.
Yeah.
Jane Johnson, if there's scope for the auto-complete the response name and address, the system's in its early stages, so that will take that away as feedback to check that, to see if we're able to do that in the future. One for our colleagues. So does the person registering as an organisation, MyHMCTS, need to be a solicitor, or could they be, for example, a legal PA? So can I ask that for my MyHMCTS colleagues?
Yeah, I think I've answered that one, Mike. The administrator can be anybody in the organisation, I think.
Right.
So, yeah. There's a couple of questions on here about the sort of Rule 92. Sharing information with the other parties and whose responsibility is it? Marie, are you available? Are you on the call to pick those up?
Yes, I am. Yes, Rule 92 is taking. It'll come in line with the application.
Sorry, Marie, we can't hear you.
So my mic up, is that better?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, sorry about that. Yes, Rule 92 has been taken into account. Once the application process does come online, any correspondence that's sent to the tribunal, if both parties are on the system, it will automatically go to those parties too.
Thanks, Marie.
There's another question, Marie. Will the email confirmation that the ET3 has been submitted be provided immediately or automatically upon submission? Is that correct, that they'll get notification that an ET3 has been submitted automatically?
Yes, they will. Yes. And then they will get following notification once the ET3 has been accepted by the tribunal. Yeah.
Brilliant. Thank you.
So there's another question by Joel Crofts. Can or should grounds of resistance be submitted alongside ET3 on the MyHMCTS system, or should we email longer grounds of resistance in a normal way? I think the answer is you can use the MyHMCTS system, so you can answer the questions as I went through in a demonstration, and then you can upload your grounds of resistance as showed in the demo.
I think there's one question from Mark Stevens. Does this process replace the existing ways to respond to an ET claim in those locations?
Yeah, Mark answered that earlier. So it's not replacing, it's in addition at the moment. I think we've answered most of those questions. We might have to trawl through this as a team, and then we'll get back with any of the answers.
There's one here from David Thomas about for claimants, is the ET1 process the same? It's similar, but claimants at the moment, we're only limited to litigant in-person claimants on the ET1 side, and they have a different portal, if you like. MyHMCTS is for solicitors and other like legal professionals. The citizen, what we call the citizen user interface, which is for litigant in litigants in person is a slightly different portal, but they do have a similar way of uploading the ET1.
So the ET3 for the litigant in person to respond is going to be developed later down the line. So it's only for ET1's submission. PDF format, and yes, grounds of resistance can be uploaded in PDF as well as Word. Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of questions on formatting. So I think it accepts any or most formats, Mike, doesn't it?
That's correct. Yes.
Yeah.
Yep. We've answered, I think, most of the questions. Well, thank you all for attending the session. I hope you found it useful. There's guidance online, and we would take away any unanswered questions and try and answer them. I think we can end the call now. So thank you all, and thank you for attending.
Thank you all.
We will leave this chat live for if anyone wants to ask questions, but thank you all.